to Caribbean Connections. I am Dion Lego, and we're here in Dominica to chat with none other than Sam Raphael, the owner of the Jungle Bay Eco Resort. Sam is well known throughout the region as a successful entrepreneur, a real estate developer, and he even owned an airline. Now, he is a passionate advocate for ecotourism and sustainability in the region. We are delighted to have him join us on set for this episode of Caribbean Connections. Sam, welcome to Caribbean Connections.
Thank you, Dion.
It's wonderful to be here in one of your beautiful villas with the delightful backdrop of Scott's Head. So let's get into this discussion, Sam. You are well known throughout the Caribbean. You're an entrepreneur, you're involved in real estate, aviation, and of course, you're a hotelier. Can you share with us a bit of your journey, that personal journey that has gotten you to this point?
Oh, well, thanks again, Dion, for inviting me to speak on your Caribbean Connections program.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely honored to be here in Dominica to have you visit on location. That means a lot to me and to us in Dominica. Jungle Bay is an eco-tourism hotel where we focus on adventure and wellness travel to Dominica. As you know, the island of Dominica, the nature island of Dominica, gives itself to adventure, but we also have a wellness blend with the spa and the yoga type experience. Yes. So we pioneered this, and this is where we are at the journey. But for me, I am originally from Dominica, a Caribbean person. Like many of us, my parents migrated to the U.S. Virgin Islands when I was a youngster. And I studied and lived there.
Still
and
actually,
well, let's say that's relative. And at a young age, though, I had a beautiful experience on the island of St. John where I went camping. And, through the eyes of a child, I said, when I grew up, I want to have a campground like this because it was so special. We learned about the preservation of the environment, about so many interesting things. And really, this has been my dream. I went on to university in Washington, D.C. and fell into entrepreneurship by default. Many of us entrepreneurs were actually heading in another direction, and something led us to being entrepreneurs. And I've gotten into, as you alluded at the start of the program, a number of things: real estate development, and so on. And at some point, I decided two things. One, I wanted to get back to my original dream because you don't get to go around twice in life,
Oh, no, we don't.
So I wanted to get back to this campground, and it's a little fancy for a campground. When I started it, the campground was a good idea, and then the idea kind of pivoted a little to something much more upscale. But I really wanted to do something as a Caribbean person in tourism. Because traditionally tourism is the mainstay of the Caribbean. Most Caribbean islands, it's the main source of foreign exchange. One, and another thing that was standing out was that there aren't a lot of Caribbean entrepreneurs, that are hotel owners and hotel developers. And I felt, that maybe it's something that I need to do. To basically, if maybe be a role model to the Caribbean, so that the youth following can say, this guy Sammy doesn't look so smart. Look, if he can do it, then maybe we can do it too. So that was very important. And then once I got into it, to develop what would be a replicable model for tourism that's different than it was done before, in a much more destructive way, because tourism before was not focused on us, the human development in the region. So I wanted to do something to help empower the people at all levels to provide opportunities for their personal development and for business opportunities through the supply chain. But I also wanted to do something to help to preserve the environment also, because before, a developer would plop on an island and basically said, allow me to develop a hotel on your nice beach, and I will give your people some jobs at some level, and the money would go in and it would go out. Supplies would come from outside and so on. So I wanted to develop a model where, we're not going to be destructive to the coastline, to the environment, minimal disturbance of the natural environment. And we can talk about that a little later in terms of how we built this.
Yes.
minimal disturbance, and the features we have to help to preserve the island and the planet. We have to make our contribution to that, and also as a tool to empower the people of the communities around Jungle Bay. Most of the stuff that you ate for breakfast came from right around here. You know, we have a very small import bill because we like to share the wealth in the community and
That's
build
excellent.
capacity of it. So this is basically, it's a beautiful place. It's a fantastic holiday place. You'd get all the things that you would get at another resort, maybe a little more. You know, we go to waterfall hikes and all of this, you know, yoga and kayaking and anything. We offer all adventure. The only thing we don't have is snow, so you can't go snow skiing here. But any other adventure thing you want, you do it. And then wellness, we've got great spa, aromatherapy massages and yoga, anything wellness. So we give you a full balanced experience. Take your stress away and you go back rejuvenated to Trinidad or to New York or to Barbados or to London, wherever, having had this experience. So this is my journey, and this is what we have to offer at Jungle Bay.
And what a journey it has been, because at Jungle Bay, we feel fully immersed in the natural environment. You are a stickler for sustainability, and I can't help but remark about the absolute warmth of your employees. From the point of our arrival, there has been, you really feel at home here. And I don't say that lightly. So at Jungle Bay, that authentic experience is one that it is difficult to mimic.
Right, that's our secret sauce. That's the secret ingredient we put to make that special sauce. And it really comes from within. And we say we're in the happiness business.
And
we're not in the tourism business.
Yes.
We're in the business of making people happy. Whether your job is to clean the rooms or to cut the grass or to cook or to whatever, our job is to make others happy. And you know what? You can't make other people happy if you're not happy yourself.
Indeed.
So in the selection of the staff and how we interact among ourselves, it's about creating a happy environment where people realize, you know, their dreams and aspirations. And I'm not going to go into the anecdotal stories, but every person, 140 employee, every employee have a family, they have a life, they have, you know, they are somebody special. And this is a very important part of us. And every guest that come here, we call it the Jungle Bay family, which is our guests and our staff. And I didn't make that up. That's something that somebody on the staff came up with, and that's the spirit. So this is the spirit that you felt. Once you're in, you're part of the Jungle Bay family, and we have a lot of repeat clients. Most of our clients are either repeaters or they're referred by someone that stayed here and enjoyed this experience.
Correct, because it's an experience that you're selling, and you get that from the moment you come to the reception area. The level of patience, because our arrival was pretty late, but the level of detail and the information we received, it was done not with a put on, but with, you know, welcome to Jungle Bay, we're happy to have you. So it is clear, Sam, that your model and your secret sauce, it's a good formula. But in every journey, every path, you know, it is not always smooth. But you look, and based on our discussion, sound like someone who sees challenges really as opportunities. Tell us about some of the challenges you would have faced and how you dealt with those challenges, being a solution-centered person yourself.
Well, again, you're correct. Challenges are very much a part of success. And if you don't have a challenge, you have nothing. It's
Nothing,
no success.
yes.
And so the greater the challenge, the greater the success. And it's been a very challenging experience on a number of levels. But one, you know, I looked for this. I was developing real estate. I was doing well, and I really wanted to do this. So
it was a dream.
It was a dream, and that's part of overcoming those challenges. You know, first of all, it's a different model than the traditional Caribbean hotel model. So there was no financing available. Even the traditional financing sources in the region were reticent because there was no proof of concept in this part of the Caribbean.
No long data to support
to support the fantasy, if you will. So it was very difficult from establishing some sort of financing mechanism. certainly everything you see was built by local people. We didn't import anyone outside of the region. We certainly brought in some Guyanese carpenters to help train the local carpenters, and we brought in some Haitian stone workers to help train some of and everything else came from Dominica.
So this is a Caribbean product.
This is a Caribbean product,
Yes,
and sometimes it's good. We try to empower our people and so on, but on the other hand, it may present some challenges because we do have some capacity challenges here.
Yes,
and how
we do.
we take that and to do things efficiently? We have 89 rooms. It's no small feat, and everything else that we've built: 2 yoga studios, a spa with 14 treatment rooms, 2 restaurants, the pools, all this stuff. It's a lot of work within a budget, and it took a lot to work with the local staff, understanding. So there had to be a mission higher than just that one balance sheet. So you have to say, what's the second balance sheet? The empowerment of the people, and how deep does that go, and how committed you are. You've got to be committed to that, and committed to a lot of other things. And we've chugged along, and it was not an easy road. I don't wish to suggest to anyone that it's going to be an easy road. And you may seek to get into the hotel business, but there are other areas that may be easier for people to enter in the supply chain of the tourism industry. That's also very important. So there are many opportunities there, but you just have to be, have a long fight in you. And when you least expect it, we were, established after a struggle. I bought the first property for Jungle Bay in 1995.
Wow.
And really started construction in 2000. So it took 5 years to figure out the financing and all the pieces, because that wasn't easy. And then from 2000 to 2005, it took 5 years to open the original property, because the financing fell apart and had to struggle, and working with the local staff, even just the language stuff coming into the countryside and trying to work with the local people. You're committed to working with them, but it's not always the easiest path. And we opened in 2005. We did fairly well, but again, we had to come from construction to operations, and people who are not used to the nuances of the industry. And if you don't want to import your staff of persons that are professionals, you got to work with the local people and train them. And
build capacity. Yes.
An example, we virtually had no one that had eaten at a decent restaurant, and we're opening a restaurant to international standards. How do you do that and train your staff on the nuances and so on? So it took a lot of work in the community level also to get the buy-in to do that. From 2005, we had a good run, and we really got working in the community, and buying a lot of the fish and buying the vegetables, even the commitment to buy from local suppliers. Well, the local farmers weren't farming like business people. So we don't have this, we don't have that. Everyone had the same thing, because that's what they knew. And so we had to help them get greenhouses and get some systems going where they can be reliable suppliers. So it's always been a constant, steady stream of work trying to overcome the challenges that we see and those that pop up. And 2015, when we thought we had it under control, we got hit by a tropical storm that wiped us out. And the original location, which was on the eastern part of the island, I made the decision to move to this side on the 2016, purchased the property, started construction 2017 early in the year, and then we got wiped out by Hurricane Maria.
Oh yes, the unwanted guest.
And that was very unwanted, but that wasn't the ultimate unwanted guest, because in 2019 we finally opened the phase 1. I wanted to get something going, because remember I told you a lot of our clients are repeat clients.
Yes.
So we didn't want to lose them, have them forget about us. So after 4 years, we opened the first phase of this property late 2019, and we got the ultimate guest, which was COVID.
Oh, yes. The ultimate.
Early 2020,
Yes.
and it shut down. The island shut down completely for a year and a half. What do? We've got all this staffing now. The old property was so successful that we decided to more than double the capacity and the size. So when you do that and you don't have any business, it's a huge liability that you're carrying. We had to repurpose the workers because we couldn't send them home. We don't have a huge unemployment insurance scheme, so we had to figure ways to keep the people employed and keep their livelihoods going to their families. And it's only now that we're kind of working our way and trying to build back. And of course, the big challenge is air access. So we're happy that you're here, because
Yeah,
this is
4
a
times
big
weekly.
challenge. Yes,
4 times
this is a
weekly.
big challenge for Dominica, is air access. So we are delighted, that Caribbean Airlines is doing this flight, and we can fly our people down from New York.
Yes.
Via
connections.
easy connections via Trinidad, and also too, we're not discounting the Caribbean business, because we get a lot of traffic from the Caribbean, people who really want to experience the Jungle Bay experience. Before, we used to have to go to the States to shop, and every time people got a holiday, they went to the States to shop.
Yes.
You don't have to do that. You can shop online, and you can
Indeed.
travel and enjoy your leisure. And so we're seeing a lot of Caribbean people, certainly from Trinidad and Barbados and even Guyana. I talked to a woman yesterday. She was from Suriname, and coming from the region. So we love our Caribbean people. Yeah.
Yes.
We love everybody, but there's a little special thing when, as a Caribbean developer, when I see our people doing, regional tourism travel. So that's pretty big.
Well, you can't help the vibe of the
Yes,
Caribbean people.
yes.
We have a different type of energy, and we are a little spicy to the taste.
That's right.
And you get that joie de vivre, that feistiness with us. Sam, what you've described, really, you've built a village. You've built a village where persons are invested in their communities, where farmers are given additional skills to support the business, and that speaks to sustainability and longevity, and more of that, I dare say, is needed in our region.
Yes, and in the way you say you built a village, but I would say, maybe without contradicting you, we have integrated in the village.
Yes.
And we've become an integral part of the village. So tourism should be an integrated product. You don't come to just enjoy the beach. You come to enjoy all the other interesting things, because if it's just the beach, you can go someplace else. And what we've done is we've introduced the village, the island of Dominica, the village, the community of Soufriere, to visitors, so that they can really enjoy the hidden gems. And in so doing, we've also, the return to the village is a livelihood. We provide a livelihood to the village. So we say sometimes in the Caribbean, tourism is everybody's business, but we make sure it's everybody's business here. So because everyone that comes in, whether we're working with the schools on we're building a preschool in the village down below, there's a whole lot of, synergy between Jungle Bay and the village. So yes, it is in fact, the livelihood for the village, and hopefully it's a sustainable livelihood of the village.
Indeed.
That we've in fact helped to create.
So as you say, I agree with you. It is integration.
Exactly.
It is immersion, where people understand their role in this system that we're building, that is directly related to their livelihoods.
Absolutely.
So,
and for us as Caribbean people, as I alluded to earlier, tourism is our lifeblood economically. This is how we get our foreign exchange coming in. And if we can have a more integrated tourism in the community, it can be much more sustainable. And it's something that, tourism offers so many different career paths, whether it's in accounting or in entertainment, or you can just go from A to Z, in terms of transportation. The farmers, people love to farm. Well, we have farmers here that get a double return on their farming investment, because we not only purchase farm produce, but we do farm tours.
okay.
And they get paid because persons come from wherever and go and either plant or harvest on their farm on a tour. And so we pay the vendor for the use of their property, and them explaining these people are running a tour operation. And then we turn around and we buy the produce from them. So they're getting paid double for their crops, which makes it economically viable for them, and a guaranteed market. So there's a lot of the exchanges. And we're just really, I think, touching the surface as a replicable model. But this is something that I think that can be spread throughout the Caribbean. I was just in St. Lucia, speaking on a sustainable conference. I was recently in Martinique, and all over the St. Croix. Everyone's looking for this type of integration for tourism. And I do believe that we've kind of, created not a template that can be replicated everywhere, but I do think we have some best practices that people can build on, and then other people can grow it in their own direction, because every island has something unique to offer.
Indeed, and I was writing about that recently, that each island has a unique offering. But what you have here is in fact a blueprint. You mentioned a while ago a preschool being one of your projects, but you have been very vocal about sustainability and youth entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And that is where, along with sustainability, our future lies. What critical success factors would you say to the youth? Hone these skills, be mindful of these values in order to have longevity and success.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs in the Caribbean. It's just sometimes they don't have the correct focus and guidance. Even our prison system, let's be real. You know, a lot of the young men are there because they engage in entrepreneurial activities that is not in compliance with the law.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You have these women want to get their hair done, their facials, these beauty. You have a lot of entrepreneurs, but we just somehow the capacity to really create these viable enterprises. Sometimes the support mechanisms, sometimes the mentorship that's needed, because the business is a business. You have accounting, you have human resource management, you have marketing, you have all of those things that are fundamental principles, and we need to impart these things. And we need to talk about access to capital, because you can't do anything without access to capital. Now, access to capital alone isn't going to solve the capacity problem, but all of those things are part and parcel. And so one of the things that I've been particularly interested in this mission, because for me this is a mission, is in supporting and promoting youth entrepreneurship in Dominica. And we formed an organization. Waitikubuli is the Amerindian name for Dominica. Waitikubuli Entrepreneurs Leve, in the Creole, Rise Up Dominican Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And we've had a number of retreats where we bring young Dominicans, maybe 25 at a time, to spend a week here so I can mentor them, and lots of other successful business people and entrepreneurs. And they go back out with these tools now and the support system. And many of them are in business in Dominica. And this is, again, another model, of things, and other people are replicating similar things. And I know others elsewhere on their own doing different things, but the focus needs to be on entrepreneurship and supporting the youth. And you need discipline. It doesn't matter the opportunities, you need to be able to see them and seize them, but to make a success and a sustainable success out of it, you must have a lot of fight in you and commitment, and you must have a lot of discipline, and you must prepare yourself. And that's the hard work. When you see an entertainer with a mic on the stage, you think, oh my God, that's, I'd love to be that person, but you don't know the work that they have to put in to prepare themselves to be that success that we have, and our soca artists and our reggae artists and all the stars. Well, they didn't just come up and grab a mic and become a star. They put a lot of work into it. So I would say to the young people, there's a lot of work. You need to learn to defer gratification, not spend. You got to put it aside, and you have to have good habits of paying your bills and managing your money and all of those things. All of those things are important. And at the end, it's not just the money or the things that you buy with it. It's the capacity. Because as I said before, the original Jungle Bay was destroyed, and if I didn't have the capacity to rebuild, if someone had given it to me, I would not know how to develop another one, But the capacity we must develop through our life experience. So we embrace work, we embrace the principles of work, working hard, saving, having a goal, having focus. And those are the tools. And it's not a very sexy thing to tell people that they have to work hard and do these things. I mean, people want the easy way out, but I haven't figured out the easy way yet. I'm not that smart.
Regrettably, neither have I. So it's hard work, it's perseverance.
That's correct.
But you've hit on several points, and what struck me is the immersion, again, the learning, because there are times persons have a natural talent, but as you've rightly said, they need that guidance.
That's correct.
They need to be taught. So to manage money, for example, sometimes somebody needs to be taught this is how you manage money.
Being on time.
And oh yes.
Just simple things like that. We need to be disciplined on those things.
And not well, it's Caribbean time. I don't subscribe to that at all.
You're not serious about that. We say if you're earlier on time, if you try to be on time, you're already late. And if you're late, you can forget about it. You won't be successful. And I firmly believe half of success is just simply showing up prepared and on time. You must have discipline if you're going to be successful. And even though we may, have a fun demeanor behind that, there's a high level of seriousness and commitment and work that goes into success.
Indeed there is, because you must strike that balance. Work hard, play hard.
That's correct.
Yes. I thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. And we can sit and chat for hours, as I'm sure we'll continue to do off camera. But thank you sincerely for guesting with us on Caribbean Connections.
Yeah, and thank you so much for this opportunity to have this beautiful conversation with you and your wide audience. I think this is fantastic. We look forward to hosting your listeners, your viewers, in Dominica, Jungle Bay, and the other places in Dominica to enjoy this beautiful island. And hopefully, we continue to share and exchange. And we look forward to the synergy that Caribbean Airlines provides to operations like us. That's where the thank you comes. We can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing to connect the Caribbean and to provide the most important tool, which is the connectivity to these islands so that we can have economic growth and people can earn a livelihood and we can move around and do things. So Jungle Bay and Dominica, we'd like to thank Caribbean Airlines for your support for the development of this island.
It's our pleasure and our vision.
Thank you.